Shalom. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS Haruel. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David, starting with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children out of the 12 tribes whom Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai will ultimately have mercy upon in these last days. I'm your brother Matazabath, residing from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Melbourne, Australia. And back again with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, where we take the things that are going on across the four winds and filter it through the scriptures. All right, breaking down the prophecies to the elect of the nation of Israel so that you understand the times that we're in and that you can prepare your hearts and your minds for the return of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus the Christ. Now, before I get into this lesson, I want to say just a quick disclaimer. I uploaded a video earlier this morning through Premiere on YouTube. However, I received feedback that in the midst of watching the video, about halfway through, the video cut off, the sound cut off, and there was a lot of static noise or whatever in the background. So I don't know what was the cause of that. Might have been an issue of when I was pretty much processing the video and in post-production, maybe something may have happened and then just uploaded it straight without thoroughly checking it. So I do apologize for that, and I'll try to next time make sure that the audio is clear from beginning to end before I upload videos, more so in the future, which I should already be doing that. But just a little slight disclaimer on my part, and I do sincerely apologize for that, Akim. So I'll take courtesy of that next time. But without further ado, let's turn our attention to the ABC News article, which says here, SNAP or some SNAP recipients say they have to choose between rent and food amid halt in benefits. Okay, and this is right on par with biblical prophecy. All right, now what I'm going to do is we're going to let the AI do its thing, and let's listen to this page. Now, before I actually allow for this to play, this is going to give you two stories. I'm also going to leave this link in the description box because there's a lot of stories here. All right. And if any of you brothers want to land back off this lesson, you can use this article. OK, because we're going to get into what's happening with this this Jake woman, Martina, from the Bronx, New York. And then also we're going to read a little bit of this story here dealing with a domestic violence survivor who's also impacted by the loss of SNAP benefits. All right. But as I said, this article goes on and on. So I'm going to leave it in the description box for anybody who want to, if you don't have a title for a lesson, there's a lot of meat within this article that you can use. All right. So let me allow for this to play. And Salaki,
what makes a visit to America beautiful? Sure, the place itself will leave you speechless, but it's the moments.
All right. There we go. So let's get into it.
Some SNAP recipients say they have to choose between rent and food amid halt in benefits. Some SNAP recipients say they have to choose between rent and food amid halt in benefits. ABC News. Over the last week, Martina Santos said she feels like she's been living a nightmare. The 67-year-old from the Bronx, New York, is one of the nearly 42 million Americans who saw their Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, benefits lapse on November 1st. Although the U.S. Department of Agriculture said it would partially fund the program using emergency funds, officials said it could take a few weeks to up to several months. Additionally, President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that no benefits will be distributed until the government reopens. The uncertainty of if or when SNAP benefits will be funded is leaving many Americans, like Santos, wondering whether she is going to pay rent, pay her bills, or buy food. This is crazy. I'm nervous thinking about how I can get the money to buy what I need right now, because I don't have food stamps, she told ABC News. I need to make a decision if I pay my rent, when I pay my electricity, or I buy food. It's not easy. Santos, who volunteers at the nonprofit West Side Campaign Against Hunger, said she is asking her landlord if it's possible to make a partial payment for the month of November. She added that she's going to a pantry this week because she doesn't have much food in her house besides packets of beans and cereal, along with the gallon of milk her son bought for her. In addition to food, Santos said the loss of benefits is particularly devastating because she uses them to purchase distilled water for her CPAP machine, which helps treat sleep apnea and, in turn, her high blood pressure. When I don't use the machine, by the next day, I wake up tired. I don't want to do anything because I don't sleep well, she said. I want to wake up. How can I get out of this nightmare right now? Domestic violence survivors impacted by loss of SNAP benefits. Nicole, 42, from Long Island, New York, who asked that her last name not be used, started receiving SNAP benefits in 2024 after leaving a domestic violence situation. She receives about $994 in SNAP benefits per month to help buy groceries for her and her 3 children, ages 12, 13, and 17, which she said is a struggle. Food is so expensive right now. So, when you go into stores and you're buying and trying to budget and save, it's just not enough, she told ABC News. That's the feeling that I get when I go food shopping. I'm a budget shopper. I try to look out for deals that they're having and just stock up and be a bulk shopper. Nicole said she receives cash assistance and help from family, which has helped cover the cost of some groceries in the wake of SNAP benefits being halted, but added she has been occasionally checking her mobile app to see if the EBT card balance is still $0. I've been checking periodically just to see if it's going to say that food stamps are going to be available. I just still have this little hope and praying that it will be there, she said. And I was thinking to myself today, like, how long do you think it's gonna go? And thank God we're getting the cash assistance, and some people, they just don't have it. They just don't have family. She says she thinks this situation is going to last for a couple of months and said she is using this as motivation to hopefully get off of SNAP benefits for good. Nicole Bronca, CEO. Some SNAP recipients say they have to.
All right. Okay. I tried to stop it. Okay, so basically, as you can see, a lot of Americans, aka Babylonians, are pretty much in dire situations because they are put in a position where they have to now choose whether they're going to pay the rent, keep food on the table, or whatever other necessities that they are used to having in their day-to-day life that helps them to get on with whatever it is that they're trying to do. And this ties right into Revelation, the 6th chapter, because see, since DJ Trump, all right, Nero 47, as Elder Apostle Tahar likes to call him, has pretty much alluded to the fact that the government is not going to help pay for those SNAP benefits until the government reopens. That's setting the stage for pretty much pandemonium in the streets, because the longer this continues, it's only going to cause people to riot. It's going to cause people to loot. They're going to rob the shelves of the grocery stores, when they can't eat. When Jake is put into dire situations, because, Jake loves their food, man, they going to turn up. Okay, so to back up what I'm saying, this is Revelation 6 and 6, because this was the first precept that came to mind when I thought of it. Okay, I said, well, damn, this is speaking right now, right? This is Revelation 6, and I'm going to start at verse 5. Okay, because, when you talk about the third seal, which goes into a famine, all right, this is going into economic hardship, also famine and also inflation. All right. So it says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. All right. So when you go into it, the black horse, right? Black can represent mourning, sorrow, famine, and also judgment at the same time. All right. And let me see here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Just trying to find because I wrote notes down in times past. Let me just find my book, Salakia, because it's something else too that I want to add to this. All right. But generally, the black horse, represents judgment. Okay. And when you go into it, this also plays a part in time, in a time when the children of Israel were taken to Americas to serve slavery. Okay. Because that was our judgment. Right. But when you go into it further, when it says a pair of balances in his hand, right? Balance means a yoke, because when you go into it, all right, if we pick out these words, okay.
Strong's G 2218, Zugas. Zugas.
All right. It says a yoke, you see, as that of slavery. You see? So really that's what it means, right? But getting back to the point of the whole matter, okay, because the black horse, again, symbolizes the time, okay, of great economic distress, primarily, when you go back in times like during the Roman Empire, but also prophetically, it could link to this modern system because this is Rome 2.0 all over again. All right. Then it says, verse 6, Salakia, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And this is the scripture that reminded me of the article we went over. Now, when you understand a measure back then was considered about 1 day's worth of food for one person. OK, and when you get the word penny in the Greek is denarius, which is a day's wage in the ancient world. So to have a clear understanding of what this is going into, people will have to work in an entire day just to afford enough food for one meal. All right, which goes into total economic oppression and inflation. All right. So in modern times, we teach from the apostles on down on how this pretty much shows the cost of living, as it skyrockets, currencies collapsing, poverty increases under Esau's system. All right. And then when it says in 3 measures of barley for a penny, all right, barley was cheaper. It was a cheaper grain to buy back then rather than wheat. OK, in other words, it was a poorer quality of food. So in essence, you can actually buy more barley for the same amount, but it still points to a bare survival and not abundance is what I'm trying to get around. So symbolically, this is going into, the people being reduced to survival mode. And that's why the lady made the statement that she doesn't know whether to pay her rent, to pay her food or other necessities. You see? They're just trying to get by and buy it every day. And see, we, the service, the prophets, we have been telling you that this was going to come. All right. So this is representing a time of economic oppression. You see what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. Now, when you get into the essence of dealing with what's happening with the government shutdown, OK, loss of SNAP benefits, WIC, welfare programs. OK. People are working full time, but they can barely afford food. And then on top of that, the prices are skyrocketing, like the woman and, from the domestic violence situation, she's saying like she's trying to budget, but she can't really afford anything. And then on top of that, the wages are not being kept up. People's wages are not going up to meet the cost of living. You see? So this is the disaster and wake of when the government shuts down. All the programs that feed people are cut off. So this is a modern version of that penny for a measure, because now people, whatever money they do have, they're trying to stretch every dollar. You see, people laboring all day just to afford basic needs or even go hungry. You know, people sleeping in their cars and whatnot. You see what I'm saying? And then on top of that, people are trying to buy cheaper food, okay? Skipping meals, visiting pantries, food pantries, right? While at the same time, you know, inflation hitting, your basic essentials is the hardest to acquire, you know, when it comes to things like bread, milk, and eggs. So it's a sign of a famine stage. And then ultimately, this is going to lead to, let's get this here real quick. All right. 2nd Esdras 6:22. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. You see that? Because once again, like I said, Jake loves his food. But when Jake finds out those who are heavily relying on the shadow of Egypt, this government, that, you know, they can't get any help when it comes to food and stuff like that, they're going to find out the hard way, man. Well, they already kind of finding out the hard way. So what do you think that's going to lead to? That's going to lead them to, you know, robbing places, ransacking all of the storehouses, the grocery stores, you name it. And this is the perfect mixture of disaster for Esau to clamp down even harder, sending in the National Guards, okay, declaring martial law, because ultimately that's what they want to do. Okay, so all of this is centered around Esau collapsing the economy and cutting government aid to push people into dependence on the new system, which is what we've been currently telling you from the apostles, the bishops, the elders on down, eventually leading to the MOTB, the mark of the beast, which is the RFID micro C-hip. So when these things like SNAP and welfare collapse, really it's just a step toward forcing people to choose between feeding their family, paying a rent, or simply complying with the government's new digital control CBD system. You see? And this is why now, because you women, a lot of you women are going to suffer. You're going to be in trouble. This is Isaiah 32:9. It says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Right? Let's go into that word ease.
Strong's H7600. Sha'anan. Sha'anan.
It says at ease, quiet, secure. You see? Careless, wanton, arrogant, pride. Okay? Strong's definition says in a bad sense, haughty. In other words, when you have the backing of the government through your benefits and you don't have a man in the household, okay, now that the government has cut off your benefits, we're starting to see that pride is starting to bring you into a humble state now. We're starting to see that arrogance is starting to leave now, okay, because you have lost security within the government, okay? You don't have that backing where you can do bad all by yourself. Yeah, because Big Daddy government was giving you a lifeline to hang on to. But now that that lifeline has been cut short, you are asked out. You see, you are asked out. OK. And what I might do, I'm saying this midway through the lesson. If I still have the video, I'm going to put that in the pre-production before the video starts. All right. So you can see that these women are losing the plot. Anyway, it says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. For many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vengeance shall fail. The gathering shall not come. So you're not going to be able to be in a position where you're out here, you know, getting money, as you like to say, whether that be getting your hair done, your nails did, scandaling dudes, You got women talking about something. Well, you got to take me out for, you got to buy me this, you got to buy me that just to get the box and all of this and all of that. Taking advantage of men with their children, taking them to court for child child payment and all of that sort of bullshit, right? Paying child support. All of that is being done away with. It says, tremble ye women that are at ease, be troubled ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare and gird sackcloth upon your loins. Okay, because sackcloth represent a time of mourning. Okay, you should be mourning right now. And a majority of the women are mourning right now. And see, you can see that there's a shift changing here on the planet Earth because the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Al Shah is raising up men. That's why the scripture says, when you go back up to verse 2 in the same chapter, it says, and a man shall be a hiding place from the wind and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Okay, so we're in a time where the men, the true men of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that glory is coming back to them, where the women are going to be flocking and your ass is going to be in order. Okay, notice the title, it says the glorious future, right? This is what's coming. Okay, there's a change of kingdoms. Okay, this kingdom is going down. Our kingdom, Jacob, is rising up. You see what I'm saying? So this is what it is, man. But, I just wanted to touch on that to let y'all know, what's what's going on, because we are in these times, man. Okay, and we'll close out with this precept. 2nd Esdras 15. All right. I'm going to start at verse 15. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. I'm going to start at 14. Salakia, forgive me. 2nd Esdras 15 and 14. For woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. Because you got to think the modern day sword today is what? The pew-pews, right? The guns. It says, for there should be sedition among men, okay? Which when you go into that word sedition is, not having respect for your local authorities, okay? Not disregarding the government, your local city councils, mayors, all of that sort of things. Your politicians, basically, right? It says, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, which goes back to what I just labeled, the government, okay, the mayors, the local city council, politicians, all of that and above. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Okay, so they're going to, in other words, they're going to take matters into their own hands because they don't like the deal that's been dealt unto them from the government. So because they've lost all of their benefits and this, that, and the third, this is pretty much going to lead into a civil war. Okay, and you can get that in the book of Luke. It says, verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right, because there's going to be total anarchy out here and pandemonium. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And the key part there is lack of bread. There's a famine coming. Okay. And we've been telling you, man. So the prophecies are speaking and call Halayim Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, that things are ramping up in these last days. And Abaratazai, continue to put the squeeze and bring on that MOTB. All right, so with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying, and I want to give all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David. It's on to the next. Abaratazah. Shalom.